So Vegeta versus Thor's death battle was actually yeah, they did it. They did Vegeta dirty in this one because they used basically a composite 616 Thor. Right here, this is from their own videos, by the way. This is Rune King Thor. All right? This is one of the most powerful versions of Thor out there. Like, still talked about as one of the strongest versions. And Rune King Thor was able to one-shot the celestial beings that contributed to the cycle of Ragnarok. I said Raguda. Ragnarok. Which basically, they feed off it. They actually feed off the destruction of kind of a multiverse, if you think about it. Because all the 9 realms, 9 universes, all held by Idrisil, and possibly further. So this would mean the end of basically everything. So this means that these guys feed on the end of the 616 multiverse in a way. Then you have these little universal equations. So if we actually do the math here, or literally use their math here, Ultra Ego was Vegeta's best shot at beating Thor. And yet he's not even beating the World War Hulk or the Hyperion, World Breaker Hulk and Sentry stats. And that's not even the case to begin with. You could have simply scaled Thor to the Sentry. Better yet, you could scale Thor to a much stronger Sentry as well here. Because World War Hulk is fighting a confident, normal, non-void Sentry, while Thor has fought stronger versions of the Sentry before. In Agents of Wakanda, he was actually the only one to actually hold his own against Perfect Sentry. Okay, this is the same Perfect Sentry that tore through ahead of the Celestials and destroyed the Annihilation Wave. Okay, a same Sentry that was able to handle Better Ray Bill and Gladiator at the same time, and yet Thor matched this Sentry. Like, really? And then when you get into, like, the speed equations, I don't know how they got 300 quintillion times the speed of light, but I'm going to say it's fair because it's their own calcs. We're doing this by their own calcs. And then you have Thor's speed, and basically, they gave him the plank time feat, which is basically applicable to Ares, who Thor does scale above of, which is pretty accurate. And there's characters that are much faster than Ares, like Gladiator, Silver Surfer. You guys get that, right? So, if you actually apply that, and apply this to any other versus battle they did with Marvel versus DC, yeah, if playing time is the smallest form of time that they have, by their own stats, Thor should be like Flash levels of speed here. And I'm not even joking. That's how that's really applied here. The playing time feat isn't like an overpowered feat here, but it definitely makes Marvel characters a lot faster than they're given credit for. And to think that characters like Quicksilver, who's an extremely underrated speedster, should be is basically much faster than this. That basically puts him beyond. Matter of fact, it's even say that Quicksilver went beyond the limits of speed, of every known speed in the Marvel Universe. And plank time is a well-known speed in the Marvel Universe. That makes him faster than, basically being faster than plank time. You don't have a speed cap. You don't. Now, to be fair here, they also use Cosmic King Thor, which again, I already said in my video, that Thor drags Vegeta, that simply adding those feats of Herald King Thor would make it a absolute dog walk. And in all honesty, it should have been, considering the sheer fact he's able to not only fight against members of his Rogues Gallery, which scaled to Odin, who's a multiversal entity, but the sheer fact he's overpowered people who are beyond Skyfather levels and taken their power for themselves. What's crazy is here, they didn't even try to apply that, which was smart. Because Thor would have straight up just took Vegeta's Ultra Ego for himself and then began to mollywop Vegeta with his own abilities. In all honesty, Ultra Ego shouldn't have even been here. As a matter of fact, they could have just scaled it better. They should have scaled it above a mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, that was post the Moro arc, okay? Because it's very clear that Vegeta was doing better than a mastered Ultra Instinct Goku post that arc. Then when Goku improved it in this arc, you could actually say they're about relative. Because Vegeta just kind of got this new form here. And on all honesty, this form, it was going to be Vegeta's downfall. It really was here. Because this form, while it does get stronger, the more damage it takes, the unfortunate side effect of that is that too much damage is going to overtax that form. Again, this is a relatively new form, and unless he gets a mastered version of it, he's going to get knocked out a lot, or basically pass out from the amount of damage that he takes. The form apparently can't, sustain his body for very long periods of time when he already has, like, so much damage. It overtaxes the form and causes the form like, you know what? We're done. We're done here. Now, put that with Thor, who's been able to crack Celestial Armor, and adding, again, from their feats, Herald King Thor, who's pretty much pimp-slapped Herald-level beings. Yeah. I don't think this is fair. This wasn't fair at all. Thor was stronger. Thor was faster. Thor had pretty much every advantage. I would have actually gave Vegeta skill, maybe even combat speed advantage, because he just moves a lot more fluidly than Thor when it comes to combat. And I think that would have been it. I do believe Vegeta would have won. I'm sorry, Thor would have won because of his energy absorption and the characters they scaled to. So in all honesty, yeah, they did Vegeta mad dirty in this fight. They gave Thor every universal feat possible. Okay? That's what they did. They gave him every universal feat possible. While Vegeta only had the scaling to it. I mean, they could have scaled him to Jiren, who shook the world of Void. Definitely scaled him to Goku, who, post, Battle of Gods arc, where he was just straight up stronger. Hit, who's able to manipulate time. There's plenty of universal characters they could have scaled him to, or scaled him above. Highball him even. And then they tried to get into like, oh, Vegeta would have been able to counter with Force Spirit Fission or whatever. Yeah. How does that work if he has to damage Thor? Alright? Moro is less durable than Thor. Moro's feats are less than Thor's. Alright? And the sheer fact that not only will Vegeta simply rip the energy out of you, he can do it to a point, he can do it to beings much stronger than Vegeta. Like Glory, who's compared to a pissed off Odin. Alright? So, it bugs me because I do love Vegeta. Vegeta is like one of my 3 favorite characters, with Android 18 being my second and Android 17 being my first. Because, it is what it is here. But the sheer fact that Vegeta can just straight up can straight up try to use Force Spirit Fission, but yet he's not even going to be able to damage him because the durability and even the speed gap, they said, was just a large portion. And just the sheer fact that characters that Thor has actually fought against, like Better A Bill, have cracked Galactus' armor, and the fact that Thor just straight up took Noel's jawline, it was never fair from the jump. I really feel like as soon as they explained the feats in energy absorption, it just wasn't fair. But hey, that's going to be all for today.